This is the Millennials podcast.
Get a job, go to work.
Get a job, go to work.
Money, 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 money. Money. So this is the second episode of the Millennials podcast. And we have our first guest here ever, Lauren Hagen.
Hello.
You
said my name wrong.
We'll say it right for everyone to hear it.
Lauren Hagen.
Yep. And
How Siri says it.
Beth.
She just sat and watched us last time.
Yeah, we
And
mentioned her on our last podcast.
in the corner.
we were actually talking about our topic, which would be money and finances. And she had some really cool things to say on the side. And at first she wasn't going to be talking in this podcast, but we're like, hey, you should jump in because we like your ideas. So, yeah.
It's not that cool. All I said was, hey, have you guys ever really
Get
thought
closer
about...
to the mic.
Have you guys ever really thought about how weird the concept of money is? It's like green, dirty paper that you hand somebody and you're like, here's paper, give me that.
What is this, a Lucy
Like
K
it-
joke? I feel like.
It's like it's paper, but it's not paper at
It's
all.
not paper. It's just so weird. Like, we don't stop to think about these common things in our everyday lives, but if you really stop to think about it, it's weird.
It's just like a promise.
Like we just accept it as truth because
There's so much glory in it, and then there's so much disaster.
It's true. Like, have you ever seen that? It's like, I don't know if it's $100 bill or a dollar. It doesn't really matter what the currency was, though. It was some form of money, and it says on it, I'm a piece of paper. I run your life. You ever seen that before?
I want that.
No,
on
but I've
shirt.
seen the one
Yeah.
with Santa on it.
I've seen.
Oh my gosh, I love those. Or the Easter Bunny ones.
What about?
I have one.
Oh yeah.
I've seen one with Obama.
I've seen this movie. You know where they got the Obey propaganda stuff from? I forgot the movie. We're Here or something. They're Here.
No.
And the guy puts on these sunglasses and he sees everything for what it is. Like he sees billboards like brainwashed, and then he sees like magazines like do this, and then he sees money. I think there's something there, but I forgot.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Like, thousands of years ago, money didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that humans have. It's a human.
Well, there was a barter system.
I know,
there was
but-
always a trade-off,
but
whether it be
it's
tangible
yeah.
or verbal. There
But
was
it's
always a
interesting
trade-off.
how it's evolved to
Something
what it is now.
tangible.
Like, it's like this human construct. Like, what it started off as with trading for necessities like survival, food, water. I don't know. They gave a seashell for a goat or something. I don't know what they
They give
used.
a bribe
They-
for
That's
a
a-
war.
like,
Bad
or
trade.
maybe it was a really pretty seashell.
That person lost.
Okay.
I personally
It
don't
was a
understand gold
No,
and silver
the person
and stuff
who
like that.
traded the show.
I don't know who is
One.
like these creatures, you know, a goat or a chicken or whatever, are giving me life, but I really want that shiny thing.
That shiny
I
rock.
never understood that.
Well,
I
they
was
could
like,
buy
that doesn't mean
land with
anything
it.
to
I
me.
mean, land is
because
probably one of the most,
I know why you would want a shiny thing.
opportunistic things that you can purchase with any sort of currency. So that's probably what they thought of. Oh, I'll buy land and save this for generations to come.
Yeah.
So
Or you trade the horse for the shiny thing because a girl you like wants a shiny thing.
Oh.
So you go deeper
Who
into
runs
the
world?
necessities of living,
Maybe.
mating.
Don't even get me started on the origins of the engagement ring.
Oh.
Uh-oh. That'll be a wedding podcast.
And it's not a romantic view either, so.
Uh-oh.
as you can tell by her tone.
Well, it's also kind of crazy. Money. Back to the money thing. It's crazy how
Money.
the
Yeah, that money.
That money.
we got to show that video somehow.
I'll put it in the show notes.
It's not even like the paper part of it is not even that huge of a deal anymore. Like people don't even carry cash. So it's crazy to me.
Bitcoin, right?
It's crazy to me that it's just
Bank
all
account.
it's all numbers and just like
Liquid.
electronic transfers. Like Joey and I used an app the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we wanted to split this thing that we're buying, and we just both had the app, and
The
You
cash
didn't
app.
have your wallet on you, so you're.
there you go. Yeah, I just typed in a number and sent it to Joey's bank account. Like that's what.
Voila.
That's where we're at. We're just sending numbers to each other.
That's even a step up in weirdness
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the paper. Absolutely.
yeah.
It just
It's even
furthers.
more abstract. Yeah.
Yeah, it just furthers that it's just a promise. It's just.
Yeah. You know,
Imaginary.
it's supposed to be backed up by gold, and
There
we
is
just
no
never,
gold.
We just never get our hands on that, so we don't even think of it like that. It's just these numbers on our phones and computer screens and stuff.
Yeah, and then our time.
It's like points in a video game, kind of.
our time and
Black
our
Mirror
work
right there.
is measured in these numbers. Like time is so precious, and
Bottle caps.
what we give to our jobs and whatever, like however we make money, like that is turned into numbers, and then we
Mhm.
just pass out those numbers
Yep.
to get what we want. That's so crazy.
This service equals this much value.
Yeah.
of your time or life or whatever.
Gosh.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Ashley, do you have any research that you've done during the week?
Nice setup. And dunk.
Mark.
Well, yeah, of course, because I need to like be prepared for these sort of things and discussions. And I found that there was a Pew Research survey that found out that 7 in 10 Americans, spanning the generations, say that today's young adults face more economic challenges, which I totally agree, than their elders did when they were first starting out. And I see all around us, as millennials, that there are so many of us that have high student loan debt or are unemployed or trying to find employment, but for some reason, like, cannot get that guarantee or that paycheck. And it's disheartening. But at the same time, there are statistics out there. For example, beginning in 2015, last year, 1 in 3 Americans in the workforce are millennials. And I personally don't feel like that statistic feels like it's real, but
Why
it
not?
is. I feel like, okay, for example, the people in this room, some of us have jobs, but some of us for a very long time we're trying to find a new job, or
Yeah,
we're
but
trying to
that
attain
statistic doesn't
a
necessarily
new
mean.
form of employment. And a lot of us were unemployed for a long while. I know some millennials that haven't had a job and are trying to find a job and just can't seem to catch
Yeah, but
a break.
But that
But
doesn't.
yet
That
there's
doesn't
a
mean that.
statistic that states that yet we are the leading factor in the
But
workforce.
that doesn't state that. That just means either way that either millennials are getting more jobs, or other generations, any other generation, is not working.
Or they're like dying and retiring.
Exactly.
For me, it's real because 2 of my main jobs, 3 out of 5 people who work there are millennials. So, like my computer job, right?
Mm.
It's me and 2 other guys my age, and then 2 older guys. And then here, it's 3 millennials and 2 older staff members. So, I feel like that.
My job, my bosses are, barely. They're like they're at the end of generation, what is it?
X.
X. Yeah. But most of the staff are millennials.
I find that kind of surprising because I don't relate to that like at all. Like
You worked at a school
my
a
last
lot, though.
my last 2 it doesn't matter. Like the last
That's
2
a
employment
good
opportunities
sample
that I have
of school.
are with people from older generations. Like those were my peers in the workforce. So I feel like there are some people that truly relate to the statistic that there are many millennials in the workforce, and then I feel like there's a quantitative amount of folks that don't feel like that's true.
But
And I
that
just
stat doesn't
wondered
say that
if
there's
you,
many. It just means it's all relational.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm personally just relaying that I don't.
From her personal perspective, like what she sees, not necessarily what it is all around.
Your relationship with finances and money versus the relationship that you've seen your parents have with finances and money, like when you were a kid. Like, how has that differed? And how obviously has that shaped how you relate to it now?
Well, for me, it's kind of like it's kind of like history repeats itself for me, to be honest. My family, I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get in for this, but we don't have a great reputation for managing our finances well. So growing up, I watched my mom just always work hard. She always had multiple jobs and worked crazy hours, and all while trying to raise me. And then my dad, on the other, like, they were separated when I was pretty young, and my dad has worked the same 2 jobs since before I was born. Like, today, he's in his 60s and he still works the same 2 jobs. So that's what I saw, and that's how I am now. Like, I'm always in multiple things. I'm always have more than one job, and I'm just always like working.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
My first job was at Publix, and then actually my first job was car washing that I started myself. And then after that, I got like a tax paying job when I was 15. And
Wait, I thought your first job was selling candy, or did that come after?
No. I washed cars when I was like 12 or 11. And then I sold candy in high school.
Wait, what?
He was that guy.
guy.
I bought candy at BJ's with my mom's card. I would go by myself to BJ's and just buy like a buttload of candy.
Wait, this is a side
I
thing,
feel
but
like I probably
did
told you
did
no.
private school? Lauren went to private school. Did private schools have that kid, like that candy kid?
that sold candy.
Every public school has that kid.
It was a different kind of candy.
Hey, wait a minute. I went to a private school. I didn't get offered any kind of candy, like any candy. I didn't have Jason kind of candy guy, or I didn't have Lauren's kind of candy guy.
It was talked about, but I never saw it happen on school premises.
It didn't happen.
Okay. Anyway, back to what you're saying. Sorry.
I was just saying the same thing. Like, ever since I had an actual, like when I worked at Publix, immediately after I started doing other things too. And from the ages of 19 until now, I've had multiple jobs. And even then, still, like, it's always like coming to a point where it's like, God, if I lost one of these jobs, I couldn't whatsoever keep going with the standard of living I have.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think that we as a generation are trying hard enough to get into the workforce, or do you think that to get into it, it's harder than we imagined? For example, there's there's a psych professor at San Diego State University, Jean Twenge, and she wrote a book called Generation Me, which is about, our generation, the millennials, and how we grew up in the sort of environment where, for example, if we participated in sports, everyone got a trophy. Everyone was rewarded. Everyone was praised and glorified, even if they didn't do the best. So she was, I read this article, basically summarizes that our generation is kind of
Coddled.
has been developed into this sort of like narcissistic, this is me and this is what I'm going to do, and it's all about me. And I see some people that I'm asking your opinion.
Uh-huh.
I see some people that are debating debating like, oh no, our generation isn't like that. It's not this instant, gratification cycle that we're, circling around in.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
do you think
I don't think
because of do you think our characters like that, or do you think it's not a factor and just the workforce, it's just hard to get into, or you don't think so at all?
First of all, I don't think that the whole participation awards and stuff like that had anything, because I knew whether my award had merit or not.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted that blue ribbon. I wanted that one with the number 1 on it.
Even though I got a participation one, I felt like crap because I didn't.
I played Mario Kart. I know what first place is.
Yeah, you still feel like shit. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, of course. She's just saying that our parents, I suppose, the ones in charge when we were at a young age and when we were in those developmental stages, they were the ones in charge of giving us a reward because they didn't want us to face possibly the challenges that they face through disappointment. You can't deny that when you were younger, even if you weren't in sports, you saw children receiving awards not based on their personal opinion on how their behavior and actions went, but they did receive an award just for participating, a participation award.
Yeah.
And she's saying because of that,
What generation is the author a part of?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, because I'm sure that has a lot to do with.
I mean, I have a
there could
direct
be
quote from her that if you want to hear it, because I know you guys.
Yeah, no, I read the quote. I'm just wondering because it could be coming from a biased standpoint.
Possibly. I mean, everything
because
has
I think
some
kids-
sort of biasness. No one is.
I don't
truly
see
impartial.
harm in. Hey, you participated in this, and we're acknowledging that you did your best. You didn't win. This is what the winner got. You're not getting that, but we're still acknowledging what you did.
Yeah, I think what she was trying to like.
So that
For
carried on to
example,
parenting and
for
stuff.
example, it's almost like people our age expect something for their efforts.
Yeah,
I
think
was talking to
she's
my
wrong.
husband for a while now. There are people that we know that are a few years younger than us, but they are still considered millennials, and they're trying to get a job. And my husband's like, if I wanted a job, I pushed my way through to get that job. I met with the manager. I bothered them. I badgered them daily to get that job. And I feel like a lot of people from our generation, they want something and they'll make one effort and nothing came from
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna?
I totally agree with that. Actually,
I made an effort and it's like that's not enough.
Yeah,
and
I can
so
see
she's
that.
basically saying like a lot of people from our generation
But that
expect a certain something from, I guess you can say, minimal effort.
I feel
but
like that
was wondering
contradicts
if
the
you-
whole participation award because trying to get a job is participating in
Yeah,
in
but
the
there's
workforce.
there's something to say about sending an online application and then pursuing it in person and not giving up. If you send an online application, that's nothing compared to the person that is
but
dedicated.
I'm just saying that you can't compare that to. I don't think you can draw that conclusion from
the sports thing.
being coddled to
How? That's what I'm asking. What do you think?
because you are participating and you know that even if you just by participating there should be some sort of progress that you make. You get a reward from that.
That's interesting. So you think you should get you think when you were younger, if you played soccer, for example, and you showed up to the game and you played, but you didn't do as well enough to win the game, you think you should be rewarded because you showed up to the game?
Yeah, I mean, not rewarded, but like it's acknowledged that you tried. Because there are people who don't try to get a job; they just sit around and just whatever. That's there's no merit in that.
Yeah, I think it's actually healthier for a child to get that. Whereas
To get
why do they need a thing though? Why
acknowledgement?
can't it be their parents or?
Yeah,
Because
it-
it doesn't need to be a thing. It's just easier to show to a child.
yeah, it's easier for a child to have a tangible thing like, hey, you did a good job.
Hot
bud.
dogs and Oreos and Gatorade aren't good enough after the soccer.
I get that. I
But
get
some
that
people
anyways.
get nothing. Yeah, some kids get nothing. Like, okay, I used to teach Sunday school, and we would have these like competitions or whatever, boys versus girls, blah blah blah, and whatever. Let's say girls won, and the prize was an ice cream party, right? I'm not gonna sit here and have these kids in church watch the girls eat their ice cream because they lost and they tried their best, they did everything they could, and they still lost. So I mean, I would give them like popsicles, so at least they
I
get
don't know.
something.
That's how life
I
is,
think
though.
sometimes, yeah, I think sometimes with certain people, the lines get blurred in between acknowledgement, like honest acknowledgement for someone's efforts, and entitlement.
Definitely.
I
feel
think
like-
there's.
I don't think
yeah,
it stems
do you
from
think
that
so,
though.
Joey?
I don't think
No,
it stems. The
yeah.
kid that didn't show up to church doesn't get anything. You get nothing. The kid that showed up and tried their best, you're gonna get something. Like you're not gonna get the prize because you lost.
I see the value in that, but then there's also like there's exceptions to like some people giving almost close to the same reward, like throwing
Yeah,
a pizza party
yeah.
for the losing team.
Like the girls got candy,
Yeah.
but then the boys get. I mean, the girls got the ice cream party, but then the boys get.
Like they get
you
the
know,
ice
they
cream,
each
but not
get a
the
giant
fudge and
Reese's
sprinkles.
or something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like, well, that's
no.
pretty much the same thing.
They got those lame quarter torpedo popsicles, and the girls got like sundaes with everything, with Oreos
then-
and fudge
But
and
then
like the works.
the factor comes in that makes you question later on in life when there's nothing to give those people. how are they supposed to deal with that? Essentially, it's a surprise because it's a surprise to them.
Like the real world.
It
hits
like
you.
exactly like I have nothing right now. This doesn't make any sense, and then just this resentment grows within them. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm trying. Well, you're not trying hard enough.
Well, obviously, if you
And-
don't get the reward, then you didn't try hard enough.
But people that grew up getting anything
For
don't
doing
feel that
anything.
way.
No, but that should be a marker. Like, I tried, so that I got
But some
something.
kids get it and they don't try.
They showed up.
Yeah.
Basically, in that article, the author was stating that those millennials that do, I guess, in a way, lead their life with this instant gratification, quote unquote, selfish or delusional aims, those are the people that never quit. And those people are the people that become, Mark Zuckerberg or Elizabeth Holmes or Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who, like, I guess people call them selfish, but they never give up during that time. This is basically what the article was surmising. And there's just two faces to the coin.
As far as like the instant gratification goes, I don't think it's like you can call us selfish for that. It's just what we're promised in this day and age, because everything's like things like digital downloads and stuff like that. These things are
Social
promised to
media
us.
and stuff.
Yeah, it's not that we expect it. It's just that's what's being told that we're going to be given,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not wrong to have someone follow through with what they promised.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, though, that because of the stage that we are with technology and development in certain areas of our life, do you think that when it comes to aiming towards employment and people that are either selfish and push through, do you think that is admirable, or do you think that's admirable? Like, do you think that is something that us as people should strive toward?
I mean, two of the people in this room, Jason and Kyle, I think are some of the like most hardworking people that I know,
Whoa.
and just like
Dang.
they're go-getters. Like,
Thanks.
Flattery.
and both are millennials. They're prime examples of you just go and do what you need to do, and it's done.
So you don't think there's like a problem with that, like selfish, like, or quote selfish unquote,
Yeah,
like,
selfish isn't a
sort of-
bad word.
or like, I guess some people call it like self-involved sort of mentality of like, I got to do this, like, because there's some people that turn that into something very negative. Like, it's the same base, but some people go one way with it and other people go another way with it. Like, how do you think that that's appropriate
Yeah.
regardless?
If you're doing what you have to do and you're following the quote unquote rules of, society, you're not doing anything illegal and you're just hungry. I don't see anything wrong with that. You want to provide for yourself and for your family or your potential family.
You're not trying to sell any funky candy.
All right, so I love memes, and one of my favorites is Old Economy Steve. I didn't pick a bunch of ones that I liked a lot. I actually just Googled it now. One of them was, when I was in college, my summer job paid the tuition. Tuition was $400. Like, that kind of thing, loses job, finds another one on the way home, Like, I'm not going to say all of these are extremely true, but I mean,
They seem pretty accurate.
but yeah, I mean, we can all relate to them pretty well, especially, first of all, how much school costs, and second of all, how before it was like, you got out of college, you knew someone, you're in. And it seems like now, that other meme that's like, you need 5 years of experience. You get 5 years of experience, and then you go apply to the job, and they're like, oh, but you don't have the school. Or you go get your master's in something, and you show up, and they're like, oh, but you need 3 years of experience. Where am I supposed to get that if no one's going to hire me without
Yeah.
the experience? And where am I supposed to get the
You mean without
education
the
if-
degree? Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's like a ongoing cycle. It's
Yeah.
like, well,
We tried.
just go to school. It's like,
It's a
okay, well,
catch-22.
now I'm in debt. Well, you wanted to go to school, so you got to pay for it now.
Exactly. There was another one that was something along the lines of like, go to college and don't be lazy flipping burgers. And then when someone does go to college, it's like, why don't you get a job? At least flip burgers or something. Like
Yeah.
that was one of the other ones.
I think it's crazy. Like what I make now, if I would have made this money back in the day, like pre-millennial time, I
Mhm.
would have been able to support like a 4-person family. Like,
I think like what that old mentality stems from is like they saw, okay, I put effort and I got results. So that means if you're not getting results, you're not putting effort.
Yeah.
They're just assuming that.
but what about your bootstraps
Yeah, they're
and
I
your
don't
elbow grease?
Yeah, I don't think they're taking into account the new
We know what
environment.
assuming does.
That made me think of like on the last podcast. You may not remember, but on the first one, we were like, "Why?"
Why?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sayings too, like things don't come in cans, come in cans. So pick up your bootstraps and
That's a good one though.
and those things are fun to say, but when you are doing all those things
Yeah,
and you're not getting
cans don't pay the light bill.
exactly. All right, so the question arises then, like, are millennials adapting to our workforce, or is the workforce adapting to us? And I think it's both.
Yeah, I always think it's somewhere in the middle.
I'm always the gray guy. Okay, I used to work at the Container Store, and it's like a huge
Wait,
company.
you can't
or
mention
whatever.
it until they sponsor us.
Oh,
Just kidding.
A
I used to
container
work,
store.
It rhymes with the Blundstainer Moore. I used to work there, and there's a lot of
Is it a food place?
older. There's a lot of people that have been with that company for years, and it's a retail store, and they didn't allow tattoos, and they were like super, I guess, conservative. And I quit working there, and I went back to visit them after like almost 2 years, I guess. And people are with like half sleeves and tattoo sleeves on both arms are all showing, and I'm like, whoa.
Didn't that
like,
also happen to Starbucks?
Yeah,
Like they
That was a big
wouldn't
thing for
allow
Starbucks.
piercings or
Yeah. Yeah.
tattoos, and now they're okay with it because times changed.
Yeah, I mean,
accepted it.
it's a small thing, but that's an example, I guess, of the workforce just adapting to our generation. Yeah, because we're a lot less conservative, I guess, in general. But as far as us adapting to the workforce, we have
trying
no
our best.
choice. We have no choice but to.
Yeah.
I think.
I think because I said I'm kind of in the middle, we are trying, but I think certain things are being met by the other companies because they realize that, like the statistic Ashley just read a little while ago, that we are becoming the majority of the workforce. They need to start adapting to our needs, or else we're not going to work for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go into them, but like even Netflix came out with all these new things, their policies that they have that they're doing that appeal to people in our age group.
And I also feel like as millennials become more of part of the workforce, millennials will be more in charge of the workforce and therefore
Yeah,
also changing
That
it.
will start happening.
So the more we adapt for it, the more we change it, and then it's the whole process.
I love to think of how our generation
Is gonna run things.
How we're gonna be when we're old. We're gonna be a hilarious old generation. Like,
oh man,
old stuff, old music for us is gonna be like what? Like
Katy Perry.
Yeah, music comes out so quick and fast now, and there's so much though that it already is old after 2 or 3
Yeah.
years. I mean,
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
But
like,
I just-
I mean,
forget.
this music when we were in middle school is already like, what, throwback? You know what I mean?
even if you look at the way old people, like old, I'm talking like 80, 70s age, they dress typically close to how they used to dress
More or less.
in their time, like pearls and stuff like that, I guess.
Pearls.
Pearls and perms.
Carl.
So it's
all about the
funny.
P.
It's funny for me to think of an older, like us as old people,
old people wearing like joggers.
wearing joggers and like
And the
like,
beard
I don't
and
know,
the
like varsity vests.
and the next,
Jeggings.
the next
With
generation's
man
wearing
buns.
like
Yes,
old people with man buns.
old white man buns, and we're listening to like 21
Yeah,
Pilots.
I think that's sexy.
Kids almost always think that, the older generation looks dumb and everything. So like,
they're gonna be
whatever
wearing
we're
like
doing
plasma.
now- yeah.
But don't you
Whatever
think
we're
that?
doing now, we're going to look dumb to everyone else when we're
But I would
older.
be adaptable. I would be what's new. You
You're
know what
gonna
I
be
mean?
hip. You're gonna be that hip
Yeah,
grandpa.
I'm gonna be the hip grandpa.
I
biting all
think
my
that
broken
I
hips.
think that is going to change with our generation, though. We have to adapt so much. We might adapt with our younger generations,
I
That's
was
true.
just getting ready to say that.
which would be weird
Yes.
because then there won't be too many differences between us.
Do you think
I
we'll
love
be
that.
more understanding
Yeah.
for the next coming workforce generation?
I feel
Yes,
like we
I think it
are a
always gets more
generation that
sympathy.
questions a multitude of things. So because we have this ability, or because we are the type of generation that questions so much and are aware of
Why generation?
are aware of exactly are aware of this differentiation and what's to come, I feel like we are going to be able to connect more with the younger folk when we're older, because we are aware now. I don't feel like our parents or their grandparents were aware of that or even thought about that. They were too busy pulling a
Working
mule
their
through the
ass off.
field.
Dying on the way to
Isn't the mule pulling the things that you want them to pull?
Yeah, but it got stuck. It had a bad time.
They're really stubborn
People
animals.
just pulling mules.
Mules are
it's a dead
stubborn.
mule.
Haven't you ever
They
heard
are?
the phrase "stubborn as a
Yeah,
mule"?
they are.
No.
Yeah.
Some of them are mostly sterile.
Are we gonna have our own little millennials sayings when we're old too? Like, I don't know. What are some sayings that we
I
come up
actually
with?
use
Or
old
no.
sayings.
Throwback Thursday.
I use dig
Yes.
it.
Oh my gosh.
I
We're
use-
gonna be old people saying like
Throwback.
Ratchet. Ratchet.
No, but-
Cut your
Those
hair. You
last.
look like Justin Bieber.
Oh hell no!
Grandpa.
Just
do
Want me
it.
to put some auto tune on that?
Yeah. That's gonna be great. I can't wait to tell my grandkids.
Hell no.
Like,
Oh hell no.
yeah, do you want to go to the zoo or not?
Or you, like
Oh,
quote
Grandpa.
the great wisdom of the philosopher Shia LaBeouf.
Yes, just do it.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
He's so true.
Oh.
It's so right.
Here's another
Oh, so right.
So right.
old economy Steve one that is so true. I know several adults that have this same story. Fails out of high school, gets job, buys house, retires happy. Oh my gosh. I know several people from that generation that flunked high school, got a job anyways, everything's totally fine. That would not happen now.
No.
Like, unless you had some unique situation, of course, or you invented something, started your own company kind of thing. But like, these people failed and then just got a job somewhere that would normally require something
they
anyways.
just worked their
and
way
they
up and
just
boom.
worked their way up and everything's fine.
Well,
you
maybe
can do that now, but not like before, for
Well,
sure.
I
Too
mean,
many
I'm sure.
requirements.
Yeah, I'm sure it has to do with the kind of jobs that are available now. Like, I mean, I don't want it to make it seem like 30 or 40 or 50 years ago they were living in the primeval days, but I mean, just life looked totally different. I don't want to say it was more simple, but it was a lot more rudimentary in the fact that there wasn't as much technology. Maybe people didn't have to have as much training.
Yeah, of course.
Like
Well,
maybe
with
it
the
was just
demand-
Because lawsuits,
with the
that's why.
demand increasing in our own personal lives, for example, the kid that was in that soccer team, the demand also increased globally. So, I mean, when you do enter the workforce, there is going to be a higher demand because
Yeah.
that's just how the world is evolving and
Yeah.
growing.
Also, like the whole thing with education, like back in the day, you could just, like what Jason was just saying, the high school thing, like you could have dropped out of high school or even just had a high school diploma, and that was enough to
Yeah.
kind of
To make a living, quote
yeah,
unquote.
to make a living. And then after that, I was like, all right, you have an associate's, you can do something with that. And then like now, a bachelor's is nothing. You have a bachelor's degree? Oh, cool.
It's like
It's
good
standard.
job.
I went to high school too. All right, where's your master's? Like that's what you need
Yeah.
now.
A bachelor's was like getting a C.
Average.
I have a question.
It's just BS.
I don't know.
Shoot it out.
I don't do a lot of research on statistics, obviously, because I came into this with no prior knowledge that I was going to be speaking.
Yeah,
but
Burn
That's how
on her.
smart she is. She just wings it.
I wonder what the statistics show of the cost of living for us, the rise of cost of living versus the rise in payment, like the amount that certain jobs get paid.
Yeah, well,
like
no,
you know what I
that's-
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah. The
is the
minimum
cost
wage.
right? Is the cost? I mean, I guess the cost of
Is it
living
enough?
Someone correct
is
me.
rising versus
Yes,
the equivalent
versus how
of
much you're getting paid
exactly.
is at a slower rate.
right.
yes.
Is at a slower rate?
way slower rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the statistics either, and
Certainly.
I would like someone to correct me if they know. But minimum wage is supposed to be the amount of money that you work in a 40-hour work week should sustain your living. You should be able
Yes.
to live in a place, have food, and
Save.
It's a livable wage.
and yes, you should on 40 hours a week at that wage. And there's no way you could do that now. You cannot get paid $8.50 an hour and work 40 hours a week and forget supporting a family. You couldn't even just live. You could not pay your gas
Especially
and your
with all
audio
that
insurance.
student loan debt
Yeah,
that our
plus
generation
with
has.
the loan debt, yeah, there's no way. And even in the places where it is higher, like Seattle and all that kind of stuff, the cost of living is extremely high. You know, some little 1,800 square foot house is like almost $1 million. You know.
So one thing that has been I've recognized, or people say about millennials, is that we complain, but we never have a problem. Like, I mean, we find the problem, we point it out, but
And
we don't have a
anything about it.
solution. So what would be, like, how would we be the solution to this problem? Like, how would we start fixing it?
I guess
That's a good question.
eventually, because we have our hands in the workforce now, like more than any other generation, eventually we will be the people employing, and eventually we will be the ones setting the standards, hopefully. I mean,
Before we're all wiped out.
By
What
the
do you
aliens.
mean,
because
wiped
apparently
out?
Hillary Clinton
By the older
stated that
generations who don't
aliens
like
have
us,
visited us, so maybe they will again
don't hire us.
wipe us out entirely.
I don't know what solutions are we supposed to propose when we're not in charge, though.
Vote.
Like,
Exactly, but
That's what I'm saying.
try to get in
Gradually,
charge.
hopefully, our generation will
hopefully
be the one.
the next the
PG
generation
said it.
because
Rock the
we
vote.
the older generation has to step down and let us take the wheel. Trust us with positions that
and hopefully we do that.
yeah.
Yeah, but put the.
I'm saying the
positions-
older generation's
positions
gotta
don't
step down.
Dictate the minimum wage.
But why not?
Government does.
Oh yeah.
Vote.
But if you're in charge of a corporation, can't
Vote.
you decide your
What are we doing?
I don't want to vote, okay? I think war would solve this.
Get out of here.
Ooh, we just kill the people who aren't paying us right.
Yep.
That's
Hunger Games. Boom.
hide your kids, hide your wife.
And hide your husbands because they're ripping everybody out here.
Far.
vote.
I really think that schools are kind of making it harder on purpose. Like, okay, for example, my sister is an occupational therapist. She has her master's degree. And in order to be an occupational therapist, you need your master's. Before that, a bachelor's was okay. Like, I watched, like, when she first got her degree, a bachelor's was enough.
Mhm.
Now it's master's degree. And soon it's going to be that you have to
Doctorate.
get your doctorate in order to be a licensed occupational therapist.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Like, why are you doing this to
Yeah.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, already, like, is 6 years of school not enough? Like, it used to be enough. Why is it not enough
Do you think
now?
cheating is a reason why?
I think
I can't tell you how many people I know who do online classes and they're like, "Oh yeah, I cheat the whole thing. I cheat
Google.
everything. I cheat the whole
It's
thing
so easy to
because they're making it so hard and it's so expensive. I just cheat the whole
Well,
way
then
through.
the solution to that would be not to make it online an option.
But then
that
you
would be
do
the
that,
solution
and
to
then
that.
all the people who are not able to make it, or they're disabled, or they have children and they can't go to class.
And you wouldn't make as much
online,
money.
They're all
online
gonna-
used to not be a thing. It's money. It's
money.
That's what it is. It's all money.
It's probably also like businesses trying to cover their ass and make sure that because like
Yeah.
people's standards are going up. People sue all the time for like
Yep.
bullshit reasons. So they're just trying to like,
Like,
all
you
right,
don't
let's
offer
make
me a
the standard higher, so that way we have an expectation set
Yeah.
to cover our ass.
It might be that, but I really think the bigger reason is that there's a lot of people, like, let's say occupational therapy, whatever, stick to that. There's a bunch of people doing that, and they want to make it harder so that there's not a huge population of people that are just doing occupational therapy. Like, they
That
want
seems
to
just
make
cruel,
it harder
though.
for you.
Well,
It's a cruel
that's the nature
world.
of money, right?
Yeah.
Who's in charge of making these online schools?
Well, I wasn't even talking about online, but
Oh, never mind.
that got brought up as an option. I don't even think you could do occupational therapy online, to be honest. Like, the whole thing. You could do part of it.
No, of course not the whole
You-
thing.
you're gonna need some
No.
interaction.
But classes, yeah.
Some classes.
I have a question for you guys. How does your relationship with money directly affect your personal outlook and perspective on everyday life and just in the general picture of your life? Like, how does it affect how you see your future, the kinds of things you want to do? Does it affect your relationships with each other?
That's a good question.
I mean, obviously, it
Bring a
affects the
good
things we
answer.
want to do. Obviously. I mean,
That's clear.
even if you backpack around, you've got to have money. I
Yeah.
mean, I was talking to her brother a little while ago, and he met these French people who like came from over there to here, and apparently it's this thing that I cannot remember the name of, where you go somewhere and you work on an organic farm, and they pay you X amount of money, but you get to stay there for free. The money's not very much, but you get to stay for free, which is a huge thing. You work 4 hours a day, you have weekends off, all this kind of stuff.
Sounds pretty sweet.
And I was like, yeah, but the flight driving over here, I mean, they don't eat for free on the weekend and all this kind of stuff. So what, and eventually he got it out of her that, oh yeah, I saved up like $6,000 or whatever before I did all this. And I'm like, there's the answer. Like you can't just go do these things. There has to be some kind of like,
these gypsy backpackers, they're fronting. Like they make it sound like they just rolled out of bed one day and was like, all right, I'm just gonna grab this backpack. That's all I have. And I'm just gonna travel the world.
They sold everything
and I'm good.
Had. This other girl I know, she well, I don't want to give details about her, but I asked, I was like, you travel all the time. And I don't know what kind of job you have, but it doesn't justify what I see you doing like on social media. And she like wrote me a personal message and was like, oh, like my boyfriend's loaded pretty much. And I'm like, aha,
snap.
There you go. That's what
Sugar
it is.
daddy.
Or she didn't want to tell you the truth where she sells candy.
That's what we all need. We all need a sugar daddy, or at least like a Splenda daddy to like help us out.
At least a Splendid.
That gives you cancer.
So we get life cancer later?
Sweet and low, daddy.
Sweet and low daddy.
Just shake them up, and
I could cover those adjectives.
Hey, sweet and low is my favorite one. So those.
I like the brown stuff.
You like raw sugar? That's not a sugar
Turbinado.
Replacement though.
It's just sugar.
I would want to make more money before I get married, so it does have an influence on my, the money I make now does have an influence on my relationships now.
Yeah, I would agree with
And
that.
I do want to have enough saved to have like my own place maybe, and like that's more ideal to me. And but I get paid twice a week. I mean, not twice a week, every 2 weeks. Sorry. I wish.
My dog.
I get paid every 2 weeks, but I don't look at it. Like it's not something I look at my balance. I don't check my balance at all. But then I always go out and eat with friends, but then like conservatively,
Mm-hmm.
And when people do ask for money or
Denny's.
yeah, I cover some people sometimes, and that's fine. They cover me sometimes. It's not a big deal to friends now. But when I'm thinking about like the bigger relationship I want, like a wife, I would take that in consideration,
Mm-hmm.
I would look at my balance and everything. It would be more.
Part of the reason
why aren't
why
you doing that now?
I don't know. I am saving. I just don't know how much I'm saving.
Or what you're saving towards.
I
right
have
now, 'cause
something
you don't
around
have
like 5,000 saved right now, but it might be more. But I just like
I like
knowing.
that.
Yeah, it's like
I like that.
I don't let money control my decisions and like where I'm gonna eat. If I want to eat it, I'm gonna eat it. If I swipe and it doesn't have enough, well, okay, I'll go to Taco Bell.
What if not enough for Taco? You're in a bad situation if you have enough for Taco Bell. You're like borderline homeless.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
I
89
believe
cents.
we can feed all of the hungry people in the world if we just use Taco Bell.
It's
so
true.
Taco
I
Bell,
think
if you have ever sponsored a podcast,
Taco Bell, I will get a tattoo if you sponsor us.
a cheesy quesadilla.
you didn't say where or how small.
to tag on.
But
to
he
what-
will get one.
It'll be a Taco Bell tattoo.
It'll just be the initials
no,
TB.
it'll just be a chalupa
No, it'll be a Taco Bell logo, and it'll say Live Moss and everything.
Ooh.
on your cheek though.
What about think outside the bun right next to your butt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, adding on to what Joey was saying, I think part of the reason, it's only a part of the reason why I'm single is because I'm broke all the time. I don't have money to be whining and dining anybody.
I don't think that's the best reason because
It's not.
There's all kinds of people who are broke and have
Yeah.
someone that.
But
But that's
I'm not-
just
I'm
another
not-
problem on top
He
of
means
things.
putting-
that
I'm
you
not
do
means
it.
to
putting you
honestly
down,
like
but,
pursue
like-
someone in the way that he would see fit to pursue someone. Like if he saw a girl or met someone that he wanted to take out, like
I want
and
to pay for everything.
yeah,
Exactly.
he's not at the point right now where he's able financially to do that. So
In the way that I want to. And I know it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be in that way. And
Yeah.
I get that there's tons of ways you could be creative.
some people need to be wooed, and a lot of people that need to be wooed that
Yeah.
way.
Unless
And-
she's down for Taco Bell, in that case,
Was that like
I'm so down.
I don't want to make this a love podcast, but I don't think if that's how you have to woo that person for them to want to be with you, then that's not someone you should be with anyway.
No,
But-
I don't want someone that has to be wooed that way, but I want to.
yeah, of course.
And
But maybe it would be better if you did meet someone in the state that you're in, because that means they
True.
love you for you.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
If she's
That's
down,
Preach.
you know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. Yeah.
I mean, I met Ashley in high school, so I mean, I don't know if that's considered broke or not. But
He just had candy money.
Boom, bam.
It was
Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all on me. Mike, who?
Mike
I don't know
Jones.
that.
I'm too black for this podcast right now.
Oh
Sorry.
my
God.
god.
No one said
Kyle.
I said
Wow.
Mike Jones.
No one said Mike Jones.
I said
Why do
Mike
we have
Jones.
to say it? I'm cutting it out.
Because I'm saying Mike. Who?
I said Mike Jones.
I'm gonna put your
He
rap.
went- he
no,
went
put your
Mike
rap and then
Jones.
laugh, and that's it.
Nobody
I'm tired of
said.
hearing that.
Mike Jones.
Nobody said. Thank you, Mike Jones. That's what I wanted.
Michael
LeBron
Jones.
James.
All right.
You're never too
Maybe
black, Kyle.
maybe the listener was supposed to say that while they're in their car driving. Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Man, this podcast is awesome.
You said it. You've said it enough, Ralph. Thank you. I think, yeah. So the whole money thing, like, I love that whole money doesn't buy you happiness. Have you ever seen an unhappy person on a jet ski? No. All right. So
When they fall
When
off,
they
they
get off the jet ski and they're contemplating life, staring at the ceiling before they go to bed, yes.
money can totally buy happiness.
I don't think it buys you happiness. I think
Ooh.
it buys
Or a
you
cool
comfort.
ceiling.
That's a great. Let's do that right now.
I
Talk
think
about that.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good one. I
finances.
think it buys you comfort. Uh-oh, beer just got brought out.
What the?
Ashley, did you just pull that out of your womb? Like, where did that come from?
This
We
is
got a
what
beer wizard
I
here.
bring life.
Whipped out,
Yo.
just whipped out beer. If we didn't have money, we couldn't be enjoying these beers right now. Can money buy happiness?
No.
Around the room.
No.
what is happiness? That's a bigger question. Boom.
But that's
What
not
is
the question.
I think money can buy comfort and security and all these kind of things.
I
But
agree.
I mean, have you seen that documentary that's on Netflix? I don't know who it's by. It's just
Happy?
called Happy with the smiley face. That's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. And you know, half the people in there are basically saying like, no, like, you know, one of the guys lived in a graveyard. He got paid nothing with a family. He lived like in one of the, I don't know what they're called, not a tomb, but
Mausoleum.
yes, lived in the mausoleum and basically just took care of the grounds. And like how it works in certain other countries, I think he was in Mexico, but I'm not quite sure, is like you get this tomb or whatever, they don't bury them under the ground because they don't have land space, so they bury them in the tombs and you rent it for a certain amount of time. So when that person's time is up, like, oh, they did the funeral, it's been 3 years, this body needs to go, next person in. It's almost like renting a casket.
Getting evicted from your grave.
Yeah, exactly. And he lived there with his family and everything, and he's never known anything else. And he was like, yeah.
But if
I'm
you did
happy.
know something else, I'm just
But that
kidding.
doesn't mean that money can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
That
like-
just means you can also
Momentarily,
Get- you
can also get happiness for
momentary
free. Yes.
pleasure.
I don't
but-
agree with that.
You think money can
But if
buy
you're buying
happiness?
momentary pleasure every moment, then
What about the quintessential
You're living the
Ebenezer
moment. If I won-
Scrooge, the
If I
Christmas
won,
Carol?
like, well, right now, the thing that's huge right now is the Powerball. It's at what, 900
No,
million?
No, it's at
1.3
1.3
billion.
How much?
2 or 3 billion.
we're in billion.
with
Billion.
a B.
Wow.
No one won, so it's in the
Yeah.
billions.
So if I won that now, do you think I'm gonna be miserable? Because I'm not. None of
I
you,
don't know.
all of us, will be happy.
No, I think
I don't know the real
regard
stats,
that
but all kinds
people,
of-
what they direct that question towards is in the matter of infinite. Like, if I have money, will I be happy, always be happy, continually be happy?
That's not even feasible. That's impossible.
Okay, so you
But-
don't believe that.
And I think a lot of people are picturing like this miserable poor person, like they're miserable when they're poor, and then they get this money, and boom, they're happy. No, I mean, I feel like in general, just if you are a person that you know you're gonna make the best of your situation, and you get all this heaps of money, like yeah, that's gonna bring tons of happiness.
Like if
to
you're
me.
happy and you're poor, clap your hands. No, I'm just kidding. If you're happy and you're poor,
I grew up in a single parent household, and we
I'm not
did
saying
not
that's
like have
not
money at
impossible.
all. And I was one
I'm just saying
happy
if
child.
you're happy and you're poor, you're still happy. But then you get money, I think you'd be a little bit happier.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's all kind of stats that show increasing. Gosh, I wish we knew. Wish I
But
knew we
like
were gonna
to a
talk about this.
certain-
It had to do with like, okay, there was an increase in happiness up to a certain amount of money, and
Yeah.
once you made it to like something like $300,000 or $400,000 a year, there was no difference in
Happiness.
how much happier they were, and in fact, the higher it was, more depression was.
But how do you quantify happiness? Like,
yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
You
were they
quantify
5
it-
happy before, and then they got to 20 happy, and then at 30 happy,
They probably did like a questionnaire.
No. Yeah, they did a questionnaire having to do with family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
Yeah,
and
but
how you
still.
were with those things.
But then the bigger question comes: what is happiness?
I definitely think there's some merit to the points that have been made. Like it can definitely temporarily be like, oh, my life is a little better because I have money to buy certain things, amenities. It's going to help me enjoy life better. But maybe the origin of that quote, money can't buy you happiness, maybe the kind of intention behind whoever coined that, maybe it's like a cautionary tale against like, don't only pursue material things and don't only pursue success and money, because it can't buy you
Fulfillment.
true
Emotional
fulfillment.
well-being. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Like Kyle put a really nice positive spin on it and like more of a practical thing, but I think it is, at least nowadays, maybe the backlash against the baby boomers and the parents before them who did grow up in the Depression. And it's just been like, there's been, each generation, there's been more and more pursuit of, well, my parents didn't have this, so I'm going to work extra hard so I can, and I don't think
For
there's,
my kids.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's honorable. And if people want to give their kids the best life possible, I think that's incredible. But sometimes people can become really preoccupied with money.
Yeah.
Money. That's
That
the
money.
only, that money. If you think that's the only thing that's going to bring you happiness, if you always think happiness is someplace else, it's never going to be where you are.
Well, I
Boom.
mean,
That's a good
Right
point.
on.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe money can't buy you happiness, but it definitely like buys you the opportunity. It makes it
It-
easier to.
That's
Yeah.
what I was saying. It buys you comfort. It buys you ease of access, but it doesn't
No, what
buy
I'm
you
saying, it make-
ultimately in
no,
the end happiness.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like being comfortable. I'm saying it opens up the door to be able to find happiness easier because you're not worried about living. You know.
It's kind of like, does having less paint make you more of an artist, or more paint make you more of an artist? It doesn't matter if you have more paint or less paint. It just matters what you do with it and how you see it.
Wow, Joey.
I agree with that.
Perspective.
That touched my soul. Thank you. We need to write that down.
We gotta paint something.
We gotta put that on a painting.
Or a podcast.
Get a job, go to work.
Get a job, go to work.
You start talking about the things that are on their mind. Debt. How do you get rid of your debt? How do you handle your debt? How do I get a job that pays me more than minimum wage? The millennials are not interested in a $7 to $10 minimum wage. They're interested in jobs that can pay them $20 and $25. They're not interested in owning a home. They're interested in, how do I create some financial survival beyond what let my family members, including my mom, my dad, down? What let the middle class down? They want a new way to do things.
They've been rewarded very quickly all the way through their life, so they're used to that.
This problem was created by parents who didn't do the singular most important job they had as a parent, and that was to equip their kids with a skill so they could go away and be independent and self-reliant.
The misconception is that they're lazy and they don't want to pay their dues.
We have to deal with it because this is the workforce.
Right.
So we can't expect them to change. We're going to have to adapt as well.
Just with like anything in life, I've been thinking a lot lately about the power of perspective. And I mean, you have people who are still living off the land in like deep in the heart of the Amazonian jungle, and they're happy because their perspective in life is they're living. You know, they're living from the inside. They're not living from the outside.
That's
in.
something like what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say is knowledge is, I don't know if everyone's ever heard this, but knowledge is sorrow. They'll be happier not knowing that there's people rolling around in yachts and
So pretty much ignorance
skydiving
is
every
bliss.
day. No,
That's the same thing.
That's not ignorance though. They don't have to go read the world news to know how much better everyone's doing than them. They are content with where they're at.
Yeah, but that's what that is. That they're
what-
ignorant to our style of living,
That's not true though. They don't even have access to see those kinds of things.
which is why they're ignorant to it.
We
You
had
can't be ignorant to something you're
my
not able
husband
to
and I
do.
went to the Amazon for our honeymoon because it was my dream, and we had this great tour guide who lived and breathed the Amazon. He was born there. He knew nothing else. And for example, you said if they would know, we brought him M&Ms. Never had them in his life. Had the M&Ms. Oh, they're okay. never experienced
That's how
it.
I feel when I eat
If
M&Ms.
we,
Sorry, M&Ms.
So you're
Wasn't
saying like
impressed.
if he got a taste of like our world, he would prefer his because
Pro-
that's what he loves.
that's what he's known. That's his happiness.
Yeah.
I'm
I
nodding
agree.
right now
Well-
in agreement.
I don't think the statement does like money buys happiness disqualifies people getting happiness for free.
Say that again.
I'm saying that just because money may buy happiness, that doesn't mean you can't also get it for free.
Happiness, you mean?
So
Or
the arguments against it by saying these people don't have monies and they're happy, so that doesn't work against it.
No.
They can be both.
But I think one is temporary and one is not. Is what I'm saying.
So people who are poor are forever happy.
I don't think it's that black and white. I think it
Exactly.
can be temporary or it could be forever.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
I think
But-
we'll only
yeah.
really know if one of us gets really rich.
Yeah, if you're a
Let's-
shitty person, money is
try
not
it.
going to change the fact that
Let's try
you're a
it, yeah.
shitty person. Yeah.
And in fact, in
For-
most cases, it would make people more of one.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
but
And-
they'd be happy shitty.
until it
For
crashes.
example,
You're right about that. They'll probably be really happy and just terrible people.
I don't think that's true.
well, for example, my husband and I right now, we have enough money to do everyday life, to pay our bills, to go out with friends, to help family and friends, and to just be. But currently our financial situation is kind of in a new transition, and that may be a negative thing or a positive thing. We're not entirely sure right now, but my happiness is not going to change on the fact of whether or not we can continue to go out with friends and family or buy certain things or continue to play our PlayStation 4. Like, my happiness personally does not depend on the amount of money that we have in our bank account.
Yeah.
It's on relationship.
It's the
Yeah.
journey.
And
It's
I
not
feel
the
like that
destination.
quintessential question of does money buy you happiness? It brings up, certain questions that will spawn towards emotional well-being and life evaluation. Like, does it? You
You
look
can pay a
towards,
therapist.
huh?
You can pay a therapist.
What?
You can pay a therapist
I
to
don't get that.
He's saying to fix your emotional troubles, but
No. I'm saying when people think about happiness and money, there are two determining factors in that. There's your emotional well-being, the people that you're involved with, your relationships, how you feel about your circumstances. There's life evaluation, which is you continue to look at, your actions and your ambitions and where you are based on your success
Accomplishments.
in the workforce.
yeah, it's not about your happiness being defined by money. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying you
Wasn't that the question though?
No, it's money buying happiness.
Isn't it?
It's not about your happiness only can come from money.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's not what I meant by that. What I mean is just money can totally buy happiness. Like if I had money, I could pay for all of us to go to Cancun.
Some
And we
degree of
would-
happiness.
Yeah, we would totally be happy. But I'm not saying all of your happiness can be bought just with just that.
Yeah,
like you
I
can just
agree.
buy
I
everything.
agree.
No,
And
of
it's
course
so
not.
sad
agree.
because people are so enslaved to that idea. Like they really truly
Yeah.
believe that.
I mean, Cancun's pretty good.
I've always wanted to go to Cancun.
Yeah, let's go to Cancun. If I had
Here.
money, we would be there.
Spring
I
break's
looked up
coming
something really interesting. When you ask the question, does money buy happiness? Like the people in this room will know. I think immediately, big picture, does it ultimately buy you happiness? Not does it make you happy for that day?
Yeah, that's exactly.
And I looked up stats for the lottery winners. Okay, so most lottery winners become bankrupt within 15 years of winning the lottery. 65% become bankrupt within 15 years.
They don't know how to steward it.
Exactly.
That doesn't have anything to do with it buying them happiness. They got it.
Then why did you bring it up?
No, what you said doesn't have anything to do with it being happiness. They got exactly what you're saying brought them happiness, and in the end, it didn't. In the end.
Bankruptcy equals not happiness?
They just made poor decisions. I mean,
You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead.
The average, this is a David Ramsey claim, the average divorce rate is fourfold the national average for people who won the lottery.
I wonder how many people have won the lottery.
I don't know.
Has it been
Anyways.
has it been like
I don't know if we'll use
50
that or not.
people ever, or like have hundreds of people won the lottery?
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
But if your argument that money doesn't buy you happiness, then bankruptcy has no bearing on their happiness, and neither does
that could just
I'm
be
making the point that they thought it would and it didn't.
How do you know?
It all came and it all went, and what's
But
left?
He means in
are
the
they
long
happy or
run,
not?
at the end, there were unfortunate circumstances that continued.
But you're equating bankruptcy to unhappiness.
Yeah, he's saying that they could have still been happy. Like there's no way to know if they were happy or not.
Okay.
Because like what you guys were saying, you could be poor and you could totally be happy. Like they could not. Oh, now I'm poor. Now I'm still happy. Like
Yeah, you could be. I don't
What
know if you
about
could be
Ebenezer
once you
Scrooge
had all
from
that, though.
Christmas Carol? He had all the money in the world, but no relationship, no
it's a
love.
lovely story.
So exactly, I mean, most people know that reference, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not happy whatsoever.
But
He had no love. Well, he had loved ones that loved him, but he didn't feel that love. Like he didn't allow himself to open up, and the money that he had did not bring him happiness.
Yeah, because he was a shitty person.
no, I think it was because his main focus was getting the
money. Exactly.
But then
was that
afterwards,
success?
his main focus was
that
making others happy, but he was still rich.
Yeah. Like even long term, like if I had a bunch of money, like my mom would be like my family, the whole like debt situation can be handled. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's just
If your son paid for all your debt, I'm pretty sure you'd be happy and you'd like love your son, like you'd appreciate your son. even
yeah.
more.
I'm already loved and appreciated.
Yeah,
so if
but
I'm
there'd be
able to
more.
do that, like that's gonna
It's like boom.
happy faces all around. Like, I don't know.
But we can all agree that it's not enough, right?
Yeah.
If the pursuit of just money, you can totally become consumed in that, and you're not gonna be happy.
Anything that you think
But
is
I think that's a personality trait. That's something that as a person that you need to fix. I mean, you can't blame money for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm not blaming money.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that happens. Like society sometimes, like
and the majority.
what is it? Like it's a quote from the Bible. It's misquoted a ton of times. What is it? Money is the root of all evil,
But
and
it's
that's not what it says. It's the pursuit of money is the root of all evil,
The
and
love.
the love or whatever. Yeah. See, I'm even saying it
love of
wrong now.
money.
Yeah.
It translates into that.
There you go. Yeah, tons of translations, but yeah, that's basically my point.
And if money isn't like your main focus or pursuit, you're less likely to buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I'm not pursuing that with all I got right now, and I'm happy. But if a couple billion plopped on my lap right now, you better believe my happy meter will definitely go.
No, but I'm saying
much
like
higher.
the people who win it are usually people pursuing that money happiness. You know?
Yeah.
And nothing like any.
I totally agree with that. In fact, one of the things I just read in that thing that I brought up a second ago was that the average person who buys a lottery ticket spends $700 a year on lottery tickets.
Yeah.
And
If you-
I know
if
it's
you
more
win,
than
that
that for
works.
some people that I know.
Whoa.
Dang.
Like my grandma plays the lottery every week, and it's definitely way more than that she spends.
My job did like a pot where everyone put
We
in.
did some pot.
They
Happy candy.
We did a pot.
everyone put in money and everyone put in
That's
their lottery
candy.
ticket. They like typed up a contract and had everyone sign it, and it said if you win the Powerball, Powerball, you split the money. You split the money between
Super
everyone,
Bowl.
and they asked me to participate, and I was like, no, because I'm not gonna win. And they're like, how do you know? Blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, watch, nobody's gonna win. And then I'm like, and if someone wins, then I'll put my $2 in. And they're like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? It's $2. Like, why not? No. It's not fair.
What would you do if you won the Powerball? Of course, it wouldn't be $1 billion at that point after taxes and all that junk. But
Well,
what would you do?
first
it
of
would
all,
be a lot of money.
I would immediately set aside all the money that I need to pay for the taxes for, and I wouldn't count that.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I would invest most of it, so I don't really have to worry about money ever again, because investing money at that scale is just like pretty much immediately more money. I'd probably buy like a house, at least for myself and for my mom. What else? I'd get a car. I'd like a car.
What kind of car?
What kind of car?
No.
Okay, never mind. But like,
I wouldn't
would
get
you
an
indulge?
extravagant car though. That's for sure. I would even like the house. I'm not looking for an extravagant house. I would
Yeah,
get
that's
something
what I was
that's
looking
just
for.
like something that's comfortable.
That meets your needs.
Yeah, I don't need a giant mansion. I think that's just a waste. I think that's how those people end up in bankruptcy.
Boom. That's true. I would do all of those things. I would make sure that my mom, my dad, my younger brothers were set. I'd pay off their college tuitions. I'd pay off all of my debt, obviously, and I would still have hundreds of millions of dollars left over. I like to think I have really good ideas that I just don't come to fruition because I don't have money and I don't I'm not the best networker and I don't know the right people. So
But
I would
money
definitely,
does that immediately.
exactly.
Right?
So I would use that money to just
That's not entirely wrong.
exactly.
I wasn't
wouldn't-
joking.
Networking? What? I don't even need to do that. Like my networking would be there just in that
He's who?
I know.
millions of dollars.
You'd be the new guy on the
He's
Shark
Kaio.
Tank.
I know Ben Franklin. I know him many times over.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I would do.
I would
Bye,
definitely.
France.
Buy France.
I would buy a country, probably Luxembourg because it's nice and small. It's modest.
And now you're bankrupt.
A modest little country.
Yeah, no, I'm just totally kidding. Definitely save it. I mean, I would be absolutely set for life. I would not have to worry about like working.
That's generational
anymore.
money. Like
Gosh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that
your family is
yeah,
set.
I would set up inheritances for like not. I don't know if I'm gonna have kids for my adopted kids. I would. Okay, so saving it, I would want to. Like, I've always wanted to be one of those people, like you see on Shark Tank, that invest in other people's dreams.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's nice.
Like, I want
That's
to,
a good
like, I
perspective.
want to be an investor and help young entrepreneurs basically start businesses. Like, I would love to be able to do that. I would pay off any family members' debts or any close friends' debts. Like,
Any family member? Like,
Thank you.
hey, I'm your Aunt Judith. I've never met you.
no, anybody that I like had a
Already.
personal relationship with.
Don't get crazy.
Yeah, no, and I would have family
Oh,
members.
you know Aunt Judith's gonna come
coming
knocking
out
on
of
the
the
door.
woodworks. You who? Huh?
You who?
Huh? And I would travel. I mean, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
I
forgot to mention
would book a 3-month tour of everywhere. So yeah.
Joey.
Ditto. I'm just kidding. But yes, mostly everything everyone said already.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I would stick to the basics. I wouldn't get a mansion or a super fancy car. I'd just get maybe I'd get a Mustang, you know, for that. That's as fancy as I'd get, you know, like my medium scale. I'd try to keep it basic.
What about
but-
that loaner car you had?
No, I like Mustangs. Anyways, so I'd cover the basics, invest in it so that way, you know, you make money off of it. And I would definitely just stick to making art, traveling for inspiration, but like making my own art and trying to see any visions through.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Me
Maybe
too.
make a
I like
movie
that.
and I feel like, yeah.
like a DJ Khaled movie or like
Yes.
a literal movie.
No,
It
a
have
literal
a bunch
movie.
of sequels.
Oh, okay.
For sure. Oh, first of all, I would not tell anyone that I won right off the bat.
Yeah.
I would
Preach.
never tell anybody that I won. I would give
even you guys.
anonymously, most likely. I mean-
That's good for preservation.
Oh,
you know,
I forgot to say.
if someone knows you have money and you
Wait,
live
let
in
me
a
see where my
mama's
husband
house,
goes because it may have.
they
a
can go
different
right for you and just
perspective.
take your money.
Exactly.
forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot.
You don't have a moat around your house. That
Yeah.
they can just, put an ATM in the kitchen. You know. So I could just- you know, I mean, we would do a lot of. I think a lot of people have the same ideas. I don't know where all these people go bankrupt, but I would for sure invest in something that's passive income. Maybe like buy a sports team or something.
My dog.
Mark Cuban.
And take care of our family, all of our family, cousins and everybody. Yeah, I mean,
And the new
Man,
football
I would
family.
love to have a former lottery winner on our show. Like,
As a
if you're
guest?
listening out there and you've won any type of lottery where it was a large amount of money,
yes,
Holla.
this will not be our last financials podcast. We didn't talk about rent. We didn't talk about bills. We didn't talk about any of that stuff.
Money is
Yeah.
big, you know. It's
There's
big
a lot
part
of
our
topics.
world.
money is a big deal for
So,
humans.
what's the email?
Money's a big deal.
So you can reach
Is it
us
email? Is it
at the millennials podcast at gmail.com.
Yep, that's the email.
And
So it's any
let
former
us know
lottery
if you ever
winners.
want to be on our show, if you are a lottery winner, or
If
even
you
if you're
won the
not.
Powerball,
Exactly.
hit us up.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh, what if one of us won? Buy
Did any of us
podcasts.
buy tickets?
Just kidding.
This podcast
Did anyone
will blow
here
up.
buy tickets?
Just kidding.
No.
Yeah, I
I'm
would.
going to.
I'd
'cause
pay for it to
it's
blow up.
ridiculous.
That's it. Just buy a
$1 billion.
buttload
We're
of
gonna go buy the
subscribers.
tickets now, and if you don't hear from us
We're
again,
gonna go buy all the tickets.
Forget
All the
sponsorships.
tickets.
I wouldn't even worry about that. That's a headache.
Right?
we'd sponsor people.
Jason is our sponsor.
Sponsored by the Millennials podcast.
I know my husband spoke, but I do want to say something. I would definitely, eventually, I mean, people are going to get a whiff of what occurred when we up and leave the Homestead area and buy a plot of land.
In the forest somewhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
definitely want to set up our families, like make sure they're good. Our friends as well, and buy land. That's the main thing.
Yes, travel and buy and live somewhere we really want to live.
For the rest of my life, for the rest of my existence, I definitely want to be able to randomly and spontaneously give to people that I know need it.
But give
most
them an ultimatum.
likely anonymously. Like I would not let them know. We've done that several times, and I think that's the best sort of gift that you can do is give to people that you know that are in need and not seek any sort of reward or what's the word? Acknowledge.
Yeah.
Why did I just point?
It's okay.
Acknowledgement towards that act. But yeah, that's definitely. I think when you speak to a lot of people, that's basically what they say: settle my debt, help my family, buy a house, buy a new car,
Pay it off.
Yeah.
Make some baby.
I think we're all on the same track with that. Is anyone interested on the day history for today?
On the day history.
We should get the theme music for that.
Maybe the.
It happened today, just a long time ago.
Whoa.
There it is. That's it.
Happened today, but a long time
Sing it again.
ago.
Into the mic.
It happened today, but a long time ago.
Well,
Ouch.
on the day history for today, January 10th, 2000, we can bust out our AOL nostalgia now. Time Warner bought America Online, AOL, and it was the largest ever corporate merger. Guess how much? It was priced at
Billions and billions.
$1 million.
$162
Money.
billion
Money.
dollars, and the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, approved it. Do you guys remember AOL?
What if?
I mean, our intro
You've
does
got
have the
mail.
dial-up. Yep.
But
I mean,
yeah. I remember that was like texting back then.
Yeah.
But I didn't have it.
I kind of miss.
It would just always be on and open in my house.
Really?
Yeah, and
No,
I would be
that's-
like, I'd be like in the kitchen making like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I would hear like the door closing, and I'm like, ooh, who's offline or who's online? or
That's
offline?
true. That's true.
Did you have it your whole life, or did you like get internet like later on?
Well, it didn't exist my whole life, but
Well,
I'm just kidding.
That's a cool thing.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I had friends that had internet like elementary school. I mean, I grew up on a farm, so we didn't have internet until I was like 14, 15. So that's when I started hearing the AOL, but that was soon going out the window. So I got like the end tail
The
of
rise
it.
of cell phones.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I had it when I was I think in like 6th grade. So I was like
Wow.
2012.
I bet you can type really quick.
2002.
2012.
2002. I was 12 years old. Yeah, and that's around the time when I got it.
Yeah, I miss
Do you
it.
think that's more of like a millennial thing? Because the older people weren't into it, and the
What?
younger kids
That's
are not
right.
going to
Yeah.
be. That's
It's a
totally
what?
us. That's totally
What?
us.
AOL?
I mean, the
Yeah.
older
Oh,
people
you mean
invented
AOL?
it,
Like
but
instant
I
messaging and
missed
stuff
it.
like that.
You've got mail.
Al Gore invented the internet. Don't you guys know?
Mm.
And global warming.
No,
I was going to say that.
stuff
He
is real,
invented
man.
global
Get out
warming.
of here.
Yeah.
All the
Some people would
hurricanes.
say
He
did.
hates polar bears.
He invented hurricanes.
Don't you think it's really weird that we all like used this one thing in order to use the internet, and it just
Went away.
it's just gone. It wasn't even really that necessary.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like
It was like a wave.
I
It
don't
was a
think it's
fad.
that weird. I think that's how things work.
Doesn't AOL in some capacity still
It still
exist?
works.
Though?
Yes.
Yep.
Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
still like
I'm pretty sure my grandma still uses it.
yeah.
A family member still.
Like they just
it's the
got into
only
it
email
now.
account that he has. a
Oh, but
family
an
member.
email account
It's just
is different.
AOL.
Do they have
Yes.
the AOL
Yes.
program?
Yes, they
Yes.
still have to like log
Yep.
in to the
Mhm.
internet.
Yep. Exactly.
AOL is like beepers.
But he's the only one out of like how many people do I know?
AOL is
Several.
my AOL now is Google.
I wonder if they still use like pay by hour. You know.
You know what? If someone's paying it, for sure.
No, I had a family member that was still paying for it.
By
like,
hour?
last year.
By the hour?
Still, I don't know how it's
It's
set up,
probably
but
like
he
2
was paying
cents.
for AOL, and his
Oh my
children
gosh.
He has 4 kids, and they're just like, Dad, what are you doing? They just found this out. They had no idea their father was doing this. And he's like, what? Are you telling me I don't have to pay for it? They're like, no! Like, up until last year. And, I mean, are they going to stop it?
message.
No, AOL's not going to stop
happened to my
They're just
friend.
going to let people continue paying for it.
That happened to my friend at my other job. His dad called him in a panic, like, I can't access my email. They said my credit card didn't go through or something. And he's like,
what do you mean?
What are you talking about? He's like, every email thing is free. What are you talking about? He's like, no, I have all my emails from forever ago in this one account, and I can't get in because I pay for it. And he's like, why are you paying for it? So he finds out that it was like some service that was an email account that did like a lot of fancy things for back in the day. And
they still exist.
And they still exist because it's just on this automatic monthly thing, and those people have no idea that doesn't work like that anywhere else. And so, so he like forwarded or something all of the emails over to another account.
To a free one.
To a free one, yeah.
All right, guys. Here's a question. What was your first AOL screen name?
Ew.
Jace Bobase.
Is it really?
Yep.
Mine I kind of use it for a lot of things still to this day. It was movie lover, but LVR 38.
I thought it was going to be like Taco Burrito Chonga XOXO Love Baby Princess.
Listeners, just so you know, I am the only Latina girl in this little podcast crew, and our group tends to be severely racist to me.
Did you just make a black joke earlier?
Racist? What?
I just wanted to even the playing field.
Yeah, and what is
she has a knife in her
I don't remember.
There's
See? Racism.
3 other Hispanic people here.
Seriously.
Hola. I said girl.
And Latina is
so
not
what
a
does
race.
that have to do with your
Are you
race?
a girl?
So
What does girl have to
sexist.
do
I'm
with your
just
race?
stating for the listeners. They
I'm
don't know
just
what I look
saying.
like. I am the only
you're-
Latina girl.
But you're
Hold
drawing
on, Lauren.
you're
Don't
drawing a
bust it.
connection to that.
The only Latina girl that Taco Burrito is directed towards whenever she speaks. Because apparently I'm Mexican, Colombian, Peruvian, Nicaraguan, Puerto Rican.
All the
No,
Dominican.
you're just Mexican. Don't you speak Mexican? Isn't that how it works?
Hola.
I'm being facetious, by the way.
You should say some Spanish words so
Yeah,
everyone knows.
He probably
you're-
speaks the most Spanish here.
I speak Mexican too, so.
Oh
speaks the
my
most
gosh.
Out of everyone here, he speaks the most Mexican.
And we're going to have a podcast on stereotypes and racism one day. That's for sure.
Definitely.
I think right now
Strong.
Kyle's just dodging answering the question.
No.
Wait, about your username?
We
What-
organically veered off
No.
from that topic.
He's going way off just so we don't have to know.
I
his
feel
You
like-
know what it is,
I
don't you?
don't know.
We
what it is.
veered
Okay.
off because I was next in line to say my name,
Thank you. It
and
was
I don't
Joey's
have a
turn.
name because I never had one. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I
Cue the
skipped you.
crickets.
Wait,
Okay,
wait,
no,
wait,
that's why it
wait,
veered,
wait.
but
What
let's
was
bring
your
it back.
first email? Wait, you just said you had AIM. What was it?
No, I never said it. I just said like I missed that.
How could you miss it if you never used it?
My cousins around, I heard them they had it. They had
Oh, yeah.
Nickelodeon. They had
didn't let you
everything.
watch TV. I forgot.
I didn't have internet. I mean, I didn't have computer access. But what was I gonna say, man?
And look at you now.
I saw it from afar, and I so do miss it.
Dang it. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, but did you have any email? Like, when was your first email?
My first email is. I'm not gonna say it.
If it's not embarrassing, don't even share it.
But I don't want to get random emails from whatever.
You still have it?
What was
Yeah, I still have. It's
still
my
have
main
my
one.
first
What
email
is it?
too,
My
yeah.
first email
What
is my
is
main
it?
one. It's
What is it?
www.hulk91@blank.net.
What is
Okay,
that?
that's embarrassing
Not, No, that's not embarrassing.
World War Hulk.
I thought it was gonna be something like perverted, like innocently
Perverted?
perverted. Like
Big Daddy O
innocently
straight up
perverted.
X.
There are people that have usernames like that. No shame.
I don't remember.
What?
Wow.
Yes, you do.
I don't remember my username, but I still use my original email that I have because I just, for the longest time, that was the only email address that I have. Yeah, to this day, since the 8th grade, I still get emails sent to that
What is it?
address
Yeah.
because
What is
I only have that, and then I have my college email address. It's chocolata88.
No, really, what is it?
Seriously?
That's it.
But you're not Hispanic.
That's it.
Wow.
Wow.
No for nothing, pero that's super refy, bro.
I just saw the movie Chocolat with
Oh, I
Johnny
love that
Depp.
movie. I love that.
And I fell in love with it, and I was 12.
And she ran to her computer and created an email account.
And I was like, oh my gosh,
I
I
will
get
be
to
known
have
to the
my own
universe.
email address. This is awesome. And that's the
God.
first thing that popped into my head. So 15 years later, I still use it.
I heard so many hands slap the forehead on the
Well, I can't even talk because 13-year-old me created dope status 08. And I had a Z. I had a Z at the end of status.
What? Why?
And I did the math because I wasn't in high school yet, and I did the math to when I was going to graduate, and I put that year as my 08. Yes.
That's pretty advanced math for
Yeah. It was.
I kind of have a
was
funny
proud of
story
it.
about my first
13-year-old.
email. My AIM was JSPO base, but my first email I made was, if you had to make an email for AIM, I don't remember. My parents probably did that for me. But the first email
Nice
I
of
made
them.
by myself was boy child with was
Hold on. Let's have him say that one
Sweet
more
boy-
time.
Don't you still have that
Baby
one?
I
boy
still have
child.
that one.
So
boy
redundant.
Child. Boy child. It was
Man, boy, child.
Boy.
I have to give credit to my friend
Child.
Brandon. It was a video game
Good
name or
night.
something that he had, and I was like, "Did you make it an email?" And he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Got it, it's mine." But I
loved it that much.
Listen, it was already
Didn't even
taken.
come up with it. You stole
It
it.
was
child was already
taken.
taken.
So
Why would you
I,
steal
you know, it's like suggest numbers, like boy child 79, and I'm like, all right, boy child 79, and I put it on there. It's taken. Every single one I put, it was taken. So
Why didn't you try to like male kid?
So then I put boy child 900,999. I was like, no one has that. And right before I submitted it, my mom was like, don't put 6 9s. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because 6.
69? Was she thinking that?
No. So I
was thinking
changed it.
devil.
Like the devil's gonna turn the nines
So
upside down. It's gonna be 666.
Someone could read your aim upside down.
That would have been 666 twice.
So
Double demons.
So I ended up putting 5 9s. So it's just 999,000.
Your mom
Save the
saved
world
you.
there.
She's
But
really
hey,
got
hey,
it.
Now
hey.
you're in hell for double eternity.
But isn't a pentagon also like
You mean
evil?
the pentagram?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's still at least one devil in there. If you
Yeah.
turn it upside down,
Yeah.
there's 3 6s.
It's funny if I if I
Stop
have,
sign.
like some accounts are still like connected to it. So if I call in and have to do anything, I'm like, all right, I spell it. I'll say like BOYCHILD.
Like they can't
And then
read.
I always say put your finger over the 9.
99999.
Shiza!
Put your finger over the 9
So
and
now
push
you're
it
a
5
Nazi.
times.
Now
That's
you're a
what-
Nazi and you're summoning demons.
Pretty much. Yeah.
With evil shapes.
Oh boy. My screen name was Magu Marashi.
Start again because I was crying.
Yuck.
That sounds a lot more evil.
It actually is
that a graphic
back in
like
the 90s. You might agree with that even if you knew what it was because it was actually a Japanese name for a
I knew
Pokemon.
it.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Japanese
dang
Pokemon.
pocket monsters.
I had to throw away all of my cards when my mom found out that I had some.
That's so unfortunate.
I had a Nintendo 64. My game, I had Pokemon Stadium, the only game I had for that system. Thrown out.
Did you have to get like a Bible Man game?
I'm
No,
sorry,
they didn't
Jim.
have those, but I would have. I had a Pikachu plushie in my bedroom.
Gone.
Thrown out.
Burnt.
Oh,
Burn offering.
so sad. Yes. I just pictured like an altar that your mom had set up outside for all the little
All the
things,
Pokemon, and
all
then-
the things she'd find, and she just set it up as an offering.
Pikachu's cute little face melting away.
And then some.
If I were a listener and didn't know anything about us, I'd be like, are all these guys in a cult? What's
No, my mom just didn't like Asian stuff.
Aw. No, this is the most racist podcast.
Hey, but I do. I love it. I'm into it now.
We can't. We
He
can't.
loves the Asians.
Yeah, but you're only into it.
I
'cause
love
you
them
couldn't have it.
Asians.
We can't leave the Asians.
Our
out.
main market is Asian right now, right? We're aimed at Asians. We're millennial Asians, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get
Oh.
the Asian crowd going.
I didn't realize that.
What? I don't feel good
I mean, think-
about this
think
at
about
all.
it.
I feel
Think
a little
about
sick
it.
to my stomach just listening.
Where are most of the people right now?
We're trying to get we're trying to get Bruce to think we're cool.
Can we talk about how they make the most beautiful babies ever?
Asians?
Yeah. You just mix them with any other race, and the baby's just gonna come out gorgeous.
Really?
With their
They're
own
like the
race,
special
too.
What about
ingredient
that guy?
to
what's
humans.
that guy?
Yeah, they are.
Not pretty.
Sai? You're talking about Sai?
What's this?
Yao Ming?
I'm not saying all Asians
Gangnam
are
Style.
beautiful because they're still humans, and
Not a
we
pretty.
There's
don't work
always
like that.
flawed humans, you know.
Yeah, thank God none of them are doing this podcast.
Who wants to end it?
Ba-doop-dap-doop. bow.
Bow, bow, bow.
I hate
That
my voice.
money.
No one else wants to end it.
Yeah, that money.
It's all about money.
Yeah, that money. Let's just
play her.
Yeah, that money.
Thank you to World
Bye.
Should we end it with that song?
Yeah, and then
No, I think
no,
we.
like actually
actually
singing
play it.
it.
I
No,
kind
I
of
want-
liked it the way it ended. Like, oh, how are we gonna end? How are we gonna? And then we just started singing.
Yeah, and then you just fade away
Right?
on that.
I
Boom.
just said bye. Just cut it there.
All right.
Unless you
I
want,
think we
you had
just
a
fade on the
different.
singing.
Unless-
us
Unless,
singing.
Yeah.
unless we want to
Unless
experiment.
someone changes their mind
We can
and edits it a
experiment.
different way. Let's just do it again. That money. Yeah, that money.
That money.
Yeah, that money.
I'm happy and I don't have money.
that money. Yeah, that money. Yeah, that money.